Look, men are men and women are women, and there's a difference, Kate. There's a difference between the genders.
To see how students respond to different interviewers, we've set up a little test. Meet our interviewers.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Catherine.
Describe an ideal president.
He would be fair, he'd be just, and he'd be, or she would be unbiased and think about both sides of every situation. He would be a good leader, she would be a good leader.
He or she is able to see what the people need and put that into action.
I would say an ideal president would have strong moral scruples, great communicative skills, and also leadership abilities.
It's not just the president who makes decisions and creates all the rules. He's more of like the face that people want to follow, and then, you know, he works with all these other people who create our policies. So I feel like it's more important that he's someone that people feel comfortable to be around.
Charismatic, steadfast in his convictions.
So your ideal president is a he or she?
I don't think it matters to me whether or not it's a guy or a girl.
If two candidates are standing equally next to each other, then they're standing equally next to each other.
Well, from my first response, it just naturally came to me to say he, but my preference is neither.
He.
Is it he?
I guess I'm just, when I'm thinking through the words that I'm saying, I'm thinking of past presidents, and they've all been men.
Like, I think either kind of gender can do the job.
Okay, so Bill O'Reilly recently said,
There's got to be some downside to having a woman president, right? Something that may not fit with that office, correct?
what do you think he meant by this?
No, I haven't heard that, but that's a pretty ridiculous statement.
The fact that we haven't had a female president in that position terrifies people. I think it's easy to see it as there are all these differences biologically between men and women in the way we think, the way we use our brains, but I think what it comes down to is we just don't know.
I think that there are like stereotypes surrounding kind of both genders. I'd say Bill O'Reilly probably meant that he was probably referring to the stereotype that women might act on emotions or rather than on rational or logic or whatever else he would consider.
Women have these stereotypes, have these like gender roles. As much as any woman can be a feminist, there's certain gender roles that every woman performs that go along with the old way.
Do you agree? Or?
No, I don't agree with that.
No, not really.
No, I just think that I have always had male presidents, and that's how it's always been. It's like it's like a patriarchal figure.
I don't think there should be.
I just don't think that it's accurate. If anything, I think a female perspective would probably do a lot of really good things for this country.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the downside of a man being president?
Do you think there's a downside to a man being president?
I'm sure there is, but how can you parse through it when we've never had anything but a man as a president? And I also think it's hard because I don't want to think in stereotypes. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, maybe he's too aggressive and he just wants too much power, because then I'm just sort of perpetuating that idea of men that I don't necessarily think is true.
No.
No, I don't at all.
No, not really. I mean, I guess a downside, I mean, the stereotype around males would be that, like, males are not as emotionally intelligent, and that decisions might not be good for that reason. Just like women's decisions might not be good because they're too emotionally attached.
And do you think if I were a male asking you these questions, you might respond differently?
Yeah. I think a lot of things I like look over and you're like, yeah, like nodding your head, and I think like one, I don't think for some of these things a guy might nod his head in return. You know? So I think that my answers might have been a little bit more like restrained. I don't know, and maybe having a man here, like I might have been able to think of something that would make like a man unfit for presidency. Maybe not, but like it might like inspire me.
No, I actually don't think I would, but I think people would.
Other,
I don't know if that's-
other people might.
Yeah, other people might change their answers.
Probably a little differently, yeah. I probably would have been less politically correct in answering them.